This episode of Super Boothers is brought to you by Photo Booth Startup, giving you the ultimate photo booth at an affordable price. Specializing in ring light booths, whether you're just starting out or adding some to your fleet, Photo Booth Startup can help. Visit their website at photoboothstartup.com. Hello and welcome to Super Boothers. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Ismail.
This is our last episode of the year.
We made it.
It is our 35th episode for those that are counting like my mother.
Yeah, it's definitely flown by.
So this is the thing that I have is we need to come up with a name of that thing where it's like how you feel between after Christmas but before New Year's and you're like, what am I doing with my life?
The holiday slump.
I'm not sure if that's like a word for it. I'm sure Kelly Williams would have like a very clever like mashup of two words that would like sum this up perfectly.
I'm sure she would, but that's all I got.
So this is the thing is this is the time of year where you just kind of like look back and reflect on things you screwed up this year, things you did great this year, things that you should probably do more of next year. It's always been part of my process. And actually, this is happening. It's not happening in between the holiday slump. However, it is happening the first week of January. One of my friends, Melissa, and I go over to her house. We order in dinner for 2 days. We go over everything. We go over her numbers. We go over every line item that was sold and figure out what was good, what was bad, what things did we enjoy, what things did we not enjoy. It's just a good time to go over what you want to accomplish for the next year. For us, it takes a long time. Like the Knot asks us for a new ad every single year. And I think we change it up like every 3 years just because that's how long it takes for us to like get our act together. And that's not right. Like we really should like be planning ahead with these things on things that like we don't think are important, but are super important.
Is your friend in a similar business?
She's a florist, yeah, and I mean she does events, so I mean she occasionally will book a photo booth within her package. So I mean we'll work together, I don't know, a dozen, 2 dozen times a year.
So this is actually 2 days of effort, or is it just over 2 dinners?
No, it's over 2 days of effort. So I'll go over to the house and we'll lock the doors and close ourselves in the office and just put on our pajamas and print off and go over charts and graphs and analytics and all the stuff that you should be doing throughout the year, but you just kind of don't have time.
Yeah, I think this is really important. And if you look at a lot of successful people out there, they all do some type of end of year review and beginning of year planning for the upcoming year. You don't want to fall into the trap of just like blindly moving forward and not really being thoughtful and methodical about how you're leading your business in the upcoming year. And to do that, you got to know how things went last year.
So this is the thing is I have actually a spreadsheet where I write down a line item of everything that I did this year. So for example, I'll have, the ring light photo booth. We have a glow photo booth. I used to have a little Rody case booth. We'll do memory books. We'll do digital images, green screen, anything that I did a line item of. I'll like write down like the amount sold. And actually, since I operate in multiple cities, I'll do this twice. So I'll do it 5 times, one for each city. And with that, you kind of see where you were last year and then your percentage of growth this year. And you also find out like what cities, for me, in my instance, what cities performed less than they should have, or which one had like or 1 or 2% growth when the others had a 5 or 6% growth,
The other important part of doing this is that oftentimes people have this psychological, tendency to focus on what happened recently. I think it's called the recency bias. And if you just go off memory, right, you forget what happened in detail early in the year. Having these records and documentation to go through throughout your year, like your numbers, actually digging in through your files, helps go against the recency bias, and you can actually see what happened in the full year. I think that's pretty important.
One of the things that I really enjoy about my CRM, and I think your CRM has this too, is like the revenue that you did per month. And with mine, it does a 13-month, spread. So I can see what I did last December versus this December in the same spread. So I really enjoy it because I can look and I can see how many events I did this January 2017 versus, what I will do in January 2018.
No, absolutely. I'm And I keep talking about experimenting and trying things, and I'm an analytics like fiend. I like to see what worked and measure how well it worked. So I look at a lot of different metrics. I look at the average revenue per event. I look at month to month metrics, like you said, from December last year to December this year. Did I make more money? Did I get more bookings? How much more revenue did I make? I do all those comparisons. And I actually sometimes look a little farther back than a year just to make sure everything's trending in the right direction.
Oh, sure. What
But
I really enjoy is, for example, memory books. I know that memory books cost me $14 a piece. I charge $65. I remember whenever I figured that out and I realized I need to start selling more memory books. So that's when I started pushing memory books at every corner. In a previous episode, we talked about the receipts, and whenever you send a customer a receipt, whenever they make a payment with you, to also have additional upsells in there. So if they have purchased a photo booth, why not sell them a memory book where you're making the additional money? You've already acquired the customer. You don't have to spend however much you spend on acquiring another customer to get them to spend more money with you.
yeah, at risk of sounding like a old record player, I feel like we always say know your numbers, and it's a little bit bigger than that too. It's not just numbers; it's knowing the data, knowing what gets booked more often, like understanding the real metrics of your business, and that's a trend that you see in the business world everywhere. A lot of these big corporations are making decisions based on big data. So you definitely need to dig into all that stuff, make some time. I actually pencil in stuff and block stuff off my calendar at the end and beginning of the year to like actually go through all the stuff like you do. It just makes you you can't really lead your business forward without really understanding what happened before.
Well,
you know?
and this is the thing, is it's easy to get caught in the downtime and worrying about money and twiddling your thumbs and when is money coming in. And I can't stand doing that. You always should be moving forward with your business. So what I like to use this time for is, instead of contemplating my life and wondering why I'm still doing photo booths 15 years later, but I like to go through my website and realize, like, take my time and go through what the client sees and update stuff. I'm selling stuff that I haven't sold in a while. So you probably need to take that down. So it's nice to go through this once every 6 months just to do a little refresh. Where
that is a great suggestion. I would that's like booking yourself. You should book yourself every year. Go through your whole process as a customer and see what it's like from the customer's point of view. And that way you can modify. Like
you'll find dead links, and dead links are the absolute worst. I have a live chat thing that got disabled that is still kind of floating on here, and I probably need to get rid of that. I mean, it even happens to me. So I update my website pretty often. I have not updated my website in a while just because I've been doing everyone else's except for my own. There are plenty of things that I have done as far as like my work that is a million times better than what's listed on my website. So that obviously needs to change.
It's kind of like the contractor that has leaky pipes in their own home, but they do great work at other clients' homes. You just don't get around to doing your own stuff.
My friend is a landscaper in Vegas, and he has done he did Ben Affleck's house when Ben Affleck and J-Lo were married. That house is ridiculously gorgeous. The landscaping is just out of his world. His house looks like a dump truck was just fallen in the front yard. I mean, it is so ugly.
Sounds about right.
It's just, we do for others what we don't do for ourselves. But whenever I was a florist, I decorated everyone's house for Christmas. I am lucky if I got a Festivus pole up. I mean, I find tinsel distracting.
So do you actually, like we were talking about the holiday slump, I can't, I don't know if you relate to this, but I can't really sit and twiddle my thumbs. I can only go so far before I start to just like, and my wife gets sick and tired of hearing this, but I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I could be doing more. I got to do more. And I don't know if you relate to it. Like,
says the same thing to herself.
Before we got on here, this is exactly what I was saying to her. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I could be doing more. And I feel so unproductive. But she reminds me that actually, even when I feel like this, I still get stuff done. I'm still recording a show. I still knocked a few things off, the list today. And I think that's what's helpful about this process at the end of the year is that you forget all the wins that you had along the year. You forget all the good things that happened, all the things you learned. And going through this process not only sets you up for next year, but reminds you to be like grateful and, have a more optimistic vibe about how things went.
What were some of the good things that happened to you this year in your business?
Wow. Well, I didn't go through this process yet. But I think I had a lot of high level differences in thinking. So I'm changing a lot of things in the high level, like a lot of the listeners out there and people that I've met at the events. I was not part of the iPad booth crowd. That's something that's
over
changed.
to the dark side.
Yeah, and from talking to you, offline as much as we do online, is trying to simplify things as much as possible and understanding that doesn't have to be so hard to be successful. I think a lot of people fall into the trap of overcomplicating things, including myself. So more of the big picture things like that. Obviously, we got some new big clients. We made more money per event. So those things all went well. But I really like thinking about the big picture, the big shifts that can be done next year.
How about you? I can't tell you how big this year has been. I went to Vegas in March to Photo Booth Expo, kicking and screaming. I did not want to go. I did not want to be there. And to walk in, have a very long conversation with you, which would be the first of many, many, many more that have since been published. It's just insane. I mean, since March, Super Boothers has started. And I remember we were talking and we were just like, what is the biggest thing that could happen to you? Like, what would be the biggest event that you could do? And I did an event with Oprah this year. Who the hell could ever come up with that? I certainly could have. We're going to Australia in a couple weeks. It is just mind blowing. It is just mind blowing. I have had, I guess there's an attendant. He's been with me 3 years now. I never thought that would have happened. It's just so many great things have happened. I did Super Bowl this year. Who knew?
Yeah, I didn't include the Super Boothers and other stuff. I thought you were talking about just the business, but you're totally right. That stuff has really blown me away. Just the fact that you're talking about going in March to the expo. I didn't know anybody. And now this show gives us a platform to build relationships with a lot of these big people out there, people that I admired before have been on the show, and seeing them up close, talking to them about business, it makes everything, feel much more achievable. And I hope that gets through to the people listening that, it's not out of reach to build this business and be successful. And that's probably the message that we try to communicate to everybody and show you the path to get there.
I have to, not to get all mushy, but I have to say a couple of thank yous to people that have helped us just since the very beginning. And I have to start, and this is going to sound so cliche, but thank you, Brian Ginsberg. Brian Ginsberg with PB Backdrops was the first person to believe in us. And he was the first person that ever gave us money to do this show.
Not only that, before we move on from him, there's a reason people are so loyal to him. He was I didn't know anybody at the expo. He took me under his wing and introduced me to people. And that's the kind of thing that you don't really forget. Yeah, there's a lot of bad people out there in any industry. I think people like that should be, pointed out and thanked.
We have to thank Rob Savickas with Photo Booth Expo. He is giving us booth space there. David Stevenson for letting us post whatever we want, whenever we want on Photo Booth Network. That's just kind of amazing. Kelly Williams, we have talked about, I literally think in all 35 episodes she's come up. But it's so great. And she's a wonderful person. And, we've had, brunch a couple times, and I just really enjoy her.
She's also, I really appreciate Kelly for taking the time to come on the show in the beginning when probably not a lot of other people would have. And I know for a fact a lot of other people came onto the show after her because she did it. So, I definitely appreciate her taking the time too. And of course, Brian Miller also came on shortly after Kelly Williams, and I really enjoyed the conversations we had with him. I think he's someone definitely to look up to in the industry. And he was also someone that sponsored us as well.
Josh
so definitely
Pather
appreciate
with
that
Photo Booth
too.
International, Eric Fontenot and Steve Ben at Imaging Spectrum and Darkroom, and Justin Jowett at BoothCon in Australia. I mean, the list could really go on, but we just really have to say thank you to all of these people.
Of course, people listening. I think without them, there would be no show. And a lot of times we talk about how we're just talking to a mic. It feels like I'm just talking to Ryan by myself, all the time. It's like therapy. But there's thousands of people listening every week. So
that's
I'm
the craziest
assuming that
thing
they
out
get
of all
some value
this.
out of
Like,
it,
there are
which is
people
awesome.
that would come up to me like, you said this in episode 12. What did you mean? I don't remember. Some people, this is the thing is, we record this, we maybe listen to it once. I really don't listen to it once it's edited and that's it. I really don't listen to it once we record it. There are people that listen to this like 5 or 6 times and like know when I'm going to breathe and know when I'm going to sneeze. And we this year we did 3 events. We were in New York, we were in Dallas, we were in Los Angeles. Who knew this was going to happen?
Yeah. I mean, and those are some of the most satisfying experiences. Like, we're flying, taking time out of our lives, flying. We're spending money to go to these events as well. And the most satisfying things, I still remember, like even in the LA event, people raising their hand and saying, hey, you said this in episode whatever, episode 15, and I did it in my business crew. Or I met people that quit their jobs from listening to the show. And I think that is something that's what keeps me doing the show. So thank you guys for actually listening and taking action. It's easy to listen.
I love the
but
little
doing the work
things
is what
where
really
someone will
sets you
come up
apart,
and they'll say,
I
just changed one thing about my business. Like, I don't know what we were talking about. Let's just say like they did a receipt thing and they, did a call to action on their receipts and they saw an uptick in sales just because of the one little change that we suggested. Stuff like that is just amazing. Like,
that's why we actually, whenever someone compliments us, if you notice, both of you and I always ask, can you tell us specifically?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about podcasts and just radio in general is we can talk and talk and talk and talk, but we never get any feedback from you. That's why I love doing the live events, because I can spit out whatever I'm going to spit out for 45 minutes. And it is so reassuring just to see everyone's head nodding and agreeing with you and saying, yes, I did this, or yes, there's always been the drunk girl that hits on me, and whatever it is that we're saying that you're agreeing with it's just awesome. So we really appreciate that feedback. We just did a giveaway for Christmas. Josh with Photo Booth International gave us an iPad to give away. We had over 3,000 entries, and the lucky winner was Josh from Flash Forward Studios. So congratulations, and thanks so much to Josh with Photo Booth International for giving us the iPad. So what does this mean for 2018?
I'm kind of afraid to think too far ahead because
bigger stuff
things
always
just
happens.
seem to keep happening, and I'm kind of rolling with the punches.
Whenever you're with me.
Yeah.
We are going to be in Australia January 23rd and 24th. We're going to be doing our Super Boothers event on the evening of the 24th. If you're in Australia, please purchase tickets. It's almost going to be like another after party, I think. We're going to be at PBX March 12th through the 14th. And we are, I guess, going to announce our evening event. Normally we do something educational.
Not in Vegas.
That's just not happening. So we are doing our Super Boothers event, the Booth Over. We have an amazing suite at the MGM Grand, and we are going to have a little bit of fun. These tickets are very much limited. It is going to be a lot of fun. There's an open bar.
Why do you sound so disappointed with that?
Because I'm trying to hopefully not have anyone get killed or throw up on someone or, just go full on Vegas. We're going to be giving away our swag bags. So for those that have come to our events, every swag bag that we do is a different color for every event that we did. So for New York, we did a black and white one. For Dallas, we have to do blue. We did a blue one. For Los Angeles, we did an awesome red one. For Vegas,
don't tell them. Don't tell them.
No, I have to. You're getting a metallic gold one. It is the most luxurious, the most expensive giveaway bag that we've ever done. So I'm so excited. It will be, think of like the Oscar swag bag. That's what this swag bag is going to be.
It's going to blind us from the shiny.
There's a cruise in there. No, I'm kidding. Everyone's getting a car.
That would be amazing, but that's not happening. Don't get people too hyped. They're going to be disappointed.
Who's to say that's not true? Who's to say I'm lying?
Listen, the way things are going, you never know.
You never know. We will hopefully watch this is what's going to happen. Someone's go down to the casino, put a quarter in and get a car, put a quarter in and get a car, put a quarter in and get a car.
Like the movie Vegas Vacation.
Yeah. So for 2018, we're going to be doing, continuing the tour. We are, I think, going to go to New York again.
That works for me.
Yeah,
anytime.
it does work for you, but around I think the end of March, beginning of April, I will be there, and I think Ismail will be free.
I think so
So we're
too.
going to be doing another New York event. We've heard a lot of St. Louis, and I think that's going to end up happening. Miami for sure, and then in no particular order, Boston, Phoenix, and San Diego. So those are going to be the next 6 cities that are coming up for our 2018 tour. In addition to Vegas and Australia, I should have a lot of miles by now. I'm telling you.
We had people in San Diego. I didn't know. I was just in San Diego. I didn't know there was people out there.
Oh, San Francisco. I'm kidding.
San
That's north.
Francisco. Oh, San
Whatever.
Francisco.
We'll just
Okay.
do a tour California.
That's two different sands, man. You got to be clear with.
Let's do
Got me all confused and everything, man.
wait in San Antonio and Houston.
Oh God. We actually do have, and I know Ryan shares the photos sometimes in the Facebook group, some analytics of where, the biggest population of listeners are. So that's kind of what we use to guide us. But you also started a conversation in the group too, asking people. It's different to have a lot of listeners in an area, and it's different to have people who are willing to go to an event. So if you guys haven't heard your place mentioned and you would like us to come, please hop on the group. Let us know, write a comment in there. And I think if we can get a large enough group, me and Ryan are usually willing to make an effort to go out there.
Yeah, we have our minimum, and our minimum is 30 people. So 30 people, and we're on our way.
Yeah, so let's see what happens in 2018. Oh, one other thing that I think to look forward to is that we've kind of been hinting, creating some content that people have been asking for that we didn't get around to this year. So that's something to look forward to in 2018 as well. I think we have a few ideas that we've been brewing. Some of them we've already mentioned, on previous shows, and some people have been asking for in these live events. So I think that's one thing that I have a goal of. I don't know if you agree, Ryan, of creating more content, like premium content that would help people.
Yes. So this is the biggest thing that we've had, and we've been working on this since October. So we have heard what you're listening to, and it is coming. I don't know when. It's like birthing a child, so maybe you'll see it in 9 months.
And people forget we run businesses too, so we want to do these things, but sometimes there's just not enough time. So
I alone operate 4, and Super Boothers is like a 5th job.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I hope people appreciate and understand that, but we're trying. Just keep letting us know what you want us to deliver, and we'll do our best to get that to you guys.
We're going to be doing Google AdWords for sure. That one is already in the hopper. We're working on an Instagram and social media e-course. And then we're also working on kind of a getting started guide, but not necessarily just getting started. Like, I've been doing this for a while. I think that if you've been doing this for, a fair amount of time, it's always good to start again, start from scratch, strip everything back, and make sure that you're doing everything kind of currently, because we talked about this with websites, and you kind of have your website debt.
Yeah.
The same thing kind of happens with your business. You start doing things that kind of work for you, but really they can work better. And that's what we're really here for, is to make your business better, to make you more money while you're sitting on a beach, screwing around on your phone. That's the goal.
Totally agree. Even stuff like your contract, where people just create a contract to get going, and through running their business for a couple of years, they start offering new services, they run into new issues, and they never update their contract. So that getting started thing is called getting started, but I think it'd be beneficial to a lot of people because it ties in a lot of different questions people have, like, what's your contract look like? And I think that would be all covered in there as well.
This is also a thing, is I've been doing a couple of people's new websites lately, and some of them are, a couple of them have already been launched. Some of them are being launched in these next couple of weeks. And it's always interesting to see where people are at in their businesses. Sometimes people will come to me and they'll say, hey, listen, I've been doing this for a while. I haven't updated my website. What do you think? And I'm like, okay, where do I start, little honey child? First of all the pictures on here don't exist anymore. We need to start that from the beginning. This is the key to any good website, is new pictures. And that's what is the best thing about Instagram. One of the things that I do with a lot of my clients that you can implement today is to take a little widget of your Instagram and import that into your website as its own gallery. You know what? You can say it'll have the most recent 12 pictures, the most recent 15 pictures, or whatever. And all you have to do as a business, you're like, oh, I don't like updating stuff. All you do, take a picture, go on your phone, update it to Instagram, and the website's already updated.
No,
Your
that's great. You
website,
kill two birds with one stone doing that.
your website is always being up. And the thing is, people don't have to know it's an Instagram feed. They don't have to know that that's where it's coming from. So what you do is you set it up as its own little gallery. If you are horrible at taking photos and or horrible at updating your website, you or your website designer, or I mean, I guess I can do it if you really want me to, put in your Instagram feed as its own gallery. All you do is operate it from your phone and your website is automatically updated. Two birds, one stone. You put hashtags. I actually booked an event from someone that found me on Instagram organically. It was the craziest. It's how I got this New Year's party. It was just a drop off.
Yeah.
I charged them an arm and a leg and a kidney.
These are the types of nuggets that I love getting from our conversations. And I feel like hopefully people are getting it too. And I know if there's Australian listeners out there, they should show up to your masterclass because these nuggets are just like tastes of what you have accumulated over all your experience. So hopefully people make an effort to get out there. People listen to what you're saying and implement them. That's the most important part is try doing these things. Don't just listen. It's too easy to pop the podcast on, listen, and feel like you accomplished something. You have to actually put the action into it as well.
I love nuggets with like sweet and sour sauce from McDonald's.
Is that an Australia reference? Because I keep hearing about
there is a nugget joke, but we're not going to get into that. However, no. So this is the thing is, I really want everyone just to reevaluate what you've done this year, reevaluate your website, reevaluate how to make your life easier. Because this is the worst thing is you don't want to be doing stuff twice. That is where things fall through the cracks. What I love, and especially on Ismail CRM, is when I operate on notes. It's just how I operate. Whenever you have or start to have a higher volume, this is another thing is you need to put systems in place before you're busy. Because once you're busy, it is too late. You're not going to catch up to it. So if you implement these systems now, whenever it's slow and whenever you're not that busy, whenever you're just kind of learning, whenever you start to grow, once you have all these systems in place, it just makes it 10 times easier. So for example, what I do is I have a questionnaire that gets sent to clients. Whenever they send it back, I copy it, paste it, put it back into the reservation. Don't look at it again until the event. If we have any email conversations, copy, paste, make sure it goes in there. Simplest way to keep everything straight. This especially, I promise the world to my clients and forget what the hell I told them. That is the worst thing. So all I do is just pop it in the notes. The event comes day before, I look at it. Oh, I need to bring a green screen. I promised them a green screen for free. Perfect. It's already done.
Yeah, I would also echo what you're saying and urge everyone listening to seriously make an effort to sit down and reflect on the year, what went well, what went wrong. And I think that's a critical, you don't want to be stumbling and bumbling your way through, just week by week. You want to be thoughtful about what you're doing. And from my perspective, selfishly, from our perspective, I would really appreciate if people, thought about what they got out of the show this year. Please let us know. And also, what do you want to get out next year? Help us, deliver more value to you. Tell us what you want us to do. I know there's thousands of you listening out there, so I'd really appreciate hearing some of that stuff.
There's like 5 people. Calm down. So no, but this is the thing is I really want to be able to really stress to people the key to being at the forefront of your industry really does have a lot to do with just keeping everything current and fresh. And a lot of that has to do with photos. We take photos for a living. It is our responsibility to make sure that, and I'm the worst at this right now, believe me, it is our responsibility to make sure our websites and whatever we're projecting is current. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, when you mention it like that, it's kind of, I didn't really think about it from that perspective. You're right. It's kind of, there's no excuse. You take photos for a living. You should have updated photos on your website.
Everyone, thank you so much. 2018 is the year of get your shit together.
Ooh.
And stop being poor.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Mic drop.
Thank you so much for joining us this year. We are going to be in Australia January 23rd and 24th. Tickets are available at boothcon.com.au. Tickets to my masterclass are still available. They are halfway sold out, so get them now. And we're also doing our event on January 24th, and those tickets are available at superboothers.com. Thanks so much, guys, and we will see you in 2018.